That was No, I Don't Want It by Glucifer. It's 6:22 p.m. You're listening to Fakahatchee Radio, KFAK. I'm Horace Wexler.
I had a Diet Mountain Dew yesterday.
Cocaine and a crack pipe in the car.
And I said, uh-oh, that doesn't sound good.
It's dripping out, very quietly dripping out.
Here are the headlines from around the globe currently trending on the FakahatcheeGazette.com website. FakahatcheeGazette.com. What even is news anyway? World's first spotless giraffe born in Tennessee, prompting local zoogoers to say, look at that f***ed-up horse. Guy you remember being the absolute worst is even worse than you remember. And deadly winds in the Caribbean allow Gulf states an opportunity to request new bootstraps from federal government. And now turning to news from around the globe. The Vatican surprised the world today when they announced changes to a doctrine established in 1974 that's referred to as the norms regarding the manner of proceeding in the discernment of presumed apparitions or revelations, commonly known as the NRMPDPAR. The new guidelines state that local bishops and priests will no longer be able to declare events as either supernatural or as miracles, reserving this power solely for the Vatican, even if that might force them to stutter ghost. The Vatican's hope is that this will curb any alleged events fueled by ideas of wealth, fame, or notoriety. But this has not sat well with all members of the clergy, including priests like Bishop Manny Velcro.
All respect to the Holy Father, I see a ghost, I'm gonna call it a ghost, and then probably run like crazy, because they spooky. I'm not gonna FaceTime Rome and be like, yo, should I be freaked out of this errant poltergeist up in my grill or what? Or like, yo, check it, if there's a crucifix squirting blood in the air, like a sprinkler, I'm not gonna ring up a cardinal and be like, yo, my man, may I have permission to get some towels to clean up this miracle? Because it's making the floors hella slippery and blasting blood at old ladies in their communion hole.
Cardinal Lexington Rando joining me now is a member of the committee that has spearheaded these changes. Thank you for joining me, Cardinal. Or is it Father?
Typically, people in my position are referred to as Your Eminence.
Wow, okay. Your Eminence, what do you say to members of your faith who say that this was all resolved in 1974? The former doctrine handled alleged cases of the supernatural just fine and are potentially very unhappy with these changes.
Look, Horace, we at the Vatican understand not all our members are going to be entirely happy with these changes. This is partially the Vatican's fault, as any member of our clergy who previously discovered supernatural phenomena or unearthed a potential miracle would be given a voucher in the form of $50 for TGI Fridays.
Wow.
And we can both agree, even in this economy, that's a lot of chicken slammers. But after conducting an internal audit, we noticed more and more vouchers going out year over year. Frankly, too many vouchers. And it was getting hard to overlook how portly some members of our clergy had become. There was a running joke where, instead of referring to some of the cardinals as Your Eminence, we'd say, Your Immense. And I'm not saying that it's all chicken slammers, but God didn't make every one of them that way, right?
I honestly couldn't say, Your Eminence.
Well, forget it. But look, we believe these changes are a simple enough request to ask our members who might find themselves in a spooky or miracle-type situation, simply close their eyes and look away entirely until we at the Vatican can weigh in on the situation. Because outside of some financial settlements, we've found looking the other way has worked very well for us in the past.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me, Your Eminence.
God bless you, Horace.
In light of the recent changes, the Association of American Bishops has called an emergency meeting and is currently Googling to see if priests are able to go on strike. And that's the news from around the globe. America. A consumer advocate group has filed a class action lawsuit in Peaburg, New Jersey today against Italian eatery The Old Spaghetti Factory on the grounds that eating in a factory is needlessly dangerous and does not meet civil health codes. Here's a snippet from lawyer Arangus Mulchman's opening argument.
Your Honor, Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, hundreds, if not thousands of people are injured in factories every day. And yet the old spaghetti factory has continued to put diners into a situation where they could potentially lose an arm or finger in a thresher or pinch point simply because they wanted to enjoy a plate of pasta larger than a recommended serving. It's negligent at its best and criminal at its worst, and they cannot continue this practice. We're all consumers here. We should be entitled to a safe and clean eating environment. At the very least, issued steel-toed boots so we don't lose our favorite toe to a runaway girder when eating chicken marsala. And I pledge today that whatever happens in this case, we're not stopping at the old spaghetti factory. This is only our first salvo in stopping the corporate trend of dangerous dining. So look out, slippery chicken sandwich quarry, and you too, rickety jambalaya vertical mine shaft. We're coming for you next.
The suit also seeks monetary damages for past diners, on the grounds that the previous owner and C-suite executives of parent company Spaghettidyne were negligent when signing off on a whimsical contest, referred to internally as the Golden Ziti. That contest, open to the public, hid a special noodle made of solid gold in diner's pasta that, when inserted into a giant mouth-shaped door, would allow them to meet the spaghetti factory's old reclusive owner. The end result of that contest were multiple grisly accidents. A 12-year-old falling into a meat rounding machine where his body was meatballed beyond his mother's recognition, a 30-year-old school teacher suffocating between two airtight sheets of pasta when her foot got caught in a giant ravioli maker, and a 65-year-old retired firefighter who was lightly poached to death after being caught inside one of the factory's ragu pipes. The current owner, 9-year-old Kirsten Pale, who took over after winning that contest, is also facing charges of corporate tax evasion that took place from 1972 to 1999. She is expected to plead guilty. And now turning to local news. Congratulations, Fakahatchee, you've got a new sister city. And that sister city is the country of Poland. A delegation from Poland and from Fakahatchee shared a photo opportunity today to mark the occasion of becoming sisters, and celebrated by sharing a bowl of bigos. I just still don't understand how a country became our sister city. Something about that seems real odd. All right, the battle over the proposed Gator Greg Louganis statue continues. Environmental arguments have been shoved to the side to focus on the statue's subject, with both sides digging in. Head of the Fakahatchee Statue Council, Borneo Duarte.
Everyone agrees that the environmental issues won't be solved, but maybe they can choose a statue everyone will get so on board with that they stop caring about the environment anyway. In which case, discussing the environment now would be a waste of time, wouldn't it? It's a waste of time. Your time? Sure. Also mine.
What about my time?
His time too. Yeah, absolutely.
Citizens of Fakahatchee will find that they have two choices tomorrow as they enter the voting booth, neither of which is the originally proposed statue of Gator Greg Louganis. Instead, the two choices are a statue of beloved television smartman Mr. Feeney from Boy Meets World, and the second choice, a hyper-detailed recreation of Edward Norton slipping on intestines after stepping out of his blood-smeared rental car just seconds after T-boning a key deer. But not everyone is happy with those two choices. Mayor Mikey Dusoleil has reportedly locked himself in the mayor's office in protest of the two options, declaring them a slap in the face after what he was told that Gator did for this town. There have been some additional rumors leaking out of the Statue Council that Mayor Dusoleil had also lightly floated the idea of a statue of himself as a possible contender, and was highly disappointed when it didn't make it onto the ballot. Voting opens tomorrow and will be open through the end of next week. KFAK went on the spot to find out how you're voting. When news breaks, we're there.
I don't want a statue of Gator Greg Louganis because graven images like that will steal the gator soul, and I don't want that alligator soul taken away from Jesus. So definitely the Edward Norton one. I don't care what happens to his soul one bit.
We could have two better choices to choose from. I'm having a real tough time deciding. On one hand, I enjoy the sophistication that Mr. Feeney brought to the job of educating youth, but on the other, there's just not enough reminders in our lives of the daily horror we experience, and I think the Edward Norton statue with deer guts flying around and him teetering perpetually on the cusp of falling into the blood and gore is an excellent representation of that, and perhaps a good physical metaphor of the struggle of life. So I guess I'll probably vote for both. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll vote for both.
Me? I'm pushing hard for Edward Norton smashing into that deer. I just think that Positano Fallopian will be able to bring a majesty to that in the same way that he brings to his obelisks. I think it's a moment that still reflects strongly in the life of Fakahatcheans. I still remember exactly where I was that day when I heard the news. So I was on the pooper. So...
Look, see what I wrote it on my titties. Feeney, Feeney, Feeney.
I think these are both strong choices that will show that we recognize artistry in this town, and maybe it'll help bring in some tourists as well, because, they'll see how artsy we are, and rich gay liberals like that, I'm told.
What? Nobody ever asks my opinion. Oh, I'm going Feeney. Feeney for sure. Definitely Feeney.
Why would I ever vote for either of those when they didn't even want to vote on my idea of a 20-foot-tall statue of Grognak the Impaler yanking an eyeball out of a screaming human skull that pumps real blood out of the bottom of the skull? Sure, it's more of a fountain, but come on.
Always nice to see democracy in action, even when the stakes are not at their highest. Again, you have until 5 o'clock next Friday to get that ballot in. You can check the KFAK website for your closest polling location, or drop your ballot off at Hank's Old Arby's that's not legally an Arby's but is legally a polling place, where every sandwich is a vote for good taste. And now Dakota Pittsburgh with your Fakahatchee weather.
This is Dakota Pittsburgh, your rock and roll weatherman. We're gonna have wind come in from the south, crescendo in as things get a little more lively over the next 2 days. And I hope you like rhythm, because the heat is gonna be the one to beat as we hit a steamy 98 degrees for the high. Too hot out there for the leather pants, so it's shorts and skins time. And all you ladies better get wet at the beach if you want to stay cool out there.
Thanks, Dakota. I hope you tune in tonight for my show Night Drive, where we'll be talking about the day's events, and you can share all of your thoughts and opinions. That's coming up much later tonight. Right now, we're serving up another dusty urn of tunes in just 10 minutes. For Fakahatchee Radio KFAK, I'm Horace Wexler.
Fakahatchee Radio. Still American for now.
Hello, my lovelies. We all know the magic of watching a sleeping pet nestle comfortably in their bed when who should be at the door but the Dream Fairy. Sprinkling sweet dreams into your pup or kitten's head. They could be dreaming about almost anything in those teeny tiny little eensy skulls, and you never know what unless you called me Fliff Moonkiss, Pet Dream Interpreter. I'll tell you all about the sweet little nonsense your little cuddlebug is dreaming of.
Miss Moonkiss helped me get into my bloodhound Basil's dreams. Apparently, he dreamt he was Barack Obama, but like a dog version named Bark Obama. And he had to make the difficult call to use drone strikes on Catalan, which Miss Moonkiss assures me was full of cat terrorists. Darn if I can't see the full weight of that decision on my boy Basil's face every day.
Who's a very good president? Yes, you are.
Fliff was wonderful. Super professional. She said my cat, Pickles, was dreaming about being in a tiny little sailboat sailing around on the moon. Oh, and the moon was made of milk. And Pickles drank her fill, because she had found a way to pick up the pieces after I'd been shot to death by an intruder after my jewelry. It was sweet. Terrifying, but sweet.
Pickles was a real sweetie. Ooh, I could just eat her up.
My Labrador Horatio kept licking his lips while he was dreaming. Apparently he was lusting after the tasty sweet smell of cooked meat, and that meat was me. as I burned to death in a fire because I had left the oven on after making a very delicious blueberry pie. This is good information to have, I think.
Horatio was so darling. What a little munchkin. I have dozens of happy clients who let me solve the magical mysteries of their pets' escapades to dreamland, and I want to do it for you, so call me today. Or you can go to inmypetshead.com to book a dream consultation immediately. Almost everyone is too embarrassed to ask for their money back. Fliff Moonkiss, Pet Dream Interpreter. Pet Dream Interpreter.